Welcome to this pre-recorded session today. Friday is a day that I teach at Bowley School, and so I've done a pre-recorded session. And because it's Friday, we're going to have a bit of fun. Why not? We're going to look at gaming on the microbit, proper gaming, not like the session we had before with just the probability, actual games and seeing how they work. So I've created a very short website here that has 3 games on it of varying levels of goodness, and you can get the link for this in the description of this video. So do go and have a look at that now and click that link and bring up this page. Now we're going to have a look at these 3 in this order, and I'm going to leave you, it's going to be a shorter video today of recording, but I'm leaving you time to play with the games and explore them a little bit. So let's go to the shooter. And when we're having a look at the shooter, what we're going to do is you can play the game straight away and see the blocks. And don't worry, these are some complicated blocks. What we're looking at here, if you go down and have a look there, very complicated looking stuff. I'm not expecting you to understand all of that, but by all means, do have a go through and see if you can. What we're going to do is go straight to the simulator. And here's my shooter game, and you press A and B to move left and right, and A and B to shoot. And if any of the Space Invader or the kind of enemies make it to the bottom, you've lost the game. To reset the game, you just press the little twirly button at the bottom here, and you can reset and then shoot with that button there, shoot, and then you can move, and we've got the shoot. It's not as easy as it would be normally if you had this in your hand, because you'd have a thumb on each of the A and the Bs. There we go. A thumb on the A and the B, and you press them both together. So you'd be able to play this game, I think, a lot more effectively if you had an actual microbit, but we've got what we've got here. So have a little play with that. Have a couple of minutes, press pause, have a little play with this game, press it refresh a few times, see what score you can get just by clicking through. There we go. Playing it, enjoying it. Okay, it's not a battle game for that. Now, the better games online, and the reason why we're going to have a look at that is we're now going to change this game. So what you can do is you can press this edit icon there. When you click on it, it will make a copy of this for you. And this is now quite nice because we've got the ability here now to change things and hack it. When people say the word hack, quite often they mean going in and trying to take someone's password or something like that. But what hacking really means is taking something that already exists and changing it. That's what the real kind of definition means. So we're going to look at our code and see if we can play around with it. So for example, on button A, on button B, there we go. We've got set shoot to 1. We've got different things that we can see here that we may look slightly familiar. PX, I think, well, I know it refers to pixels and to where objects are on here. So if I was to change the button B and button A to, or let's just change button B here to 2, and then go in here, when I press button B now, it jumps 2. And then I go back 1, jumps 2. So jumping 2 isn't really that useful for me because I won't be able to shoot anything in these options here. So when we change numbers, make sure you change them back. So I changed that to 2, so I'm going to change it back to 1. If you don't change things back to their original value, it becomes difficult to work out what you've done has had an effect or not. So let's go down, and there's a lot of complicated things in here. So when we're hacking, and this is how I learned to do some coding as well, you take something quite complicated and you just try and find some things that you can see. So shoot equals 1. I'm not quite getting anything just yet. I'm scrolling through. Oh, there we go. I could probably change this. This is the game over icon. I could change that. I could change the word score. Now, we've got time and acceleration here, I'm assuming. That's what ACC represents. So let's change this to the number 5 from 1. Let's see what happens in this game. Look how far. Oh my God, that's too fast. Look at that. Let's refresh it again. There we go. That's really fast. So if I change that acceleration back to 2 instead of 5 and refresh the game, it's a bit faster, but not too bad. So you're changing the difficulty of the game. So here, if I now go to 0.5, probably making that quite a slow game. Let's have a look. So yeah, much slower. If I go to 0.1, for example, you don't really want to go into negatives for this value for acceleration. There we go, much slower. So, you can change these values and change it to 1 again because I'm changing it back to it. You can speed it up, slow it down, make the game harder or not as you do that. So that's what really hacking is about. So have a little play around with different numbers now. Press pause, change some values, and then come back to this, and then I'll talk about the next game. So I'm closing my windows down after you've had a play there, and do have a play. It's Friday fun. And go to Flappy. Now, Flappy is a kind of simulation of a game called Flappy Bird that existed a good few years ago now, and was quite an addictive game. I think it got taken off really because it infringed a little bit on Nintendo. You got to the end and there was some Nintendo stuff. And the full game, and this is somebody's version on an emulator of the full game, was like this. And then you tapped, and as you click, you were going around. You had to try and get through, there we go, these things. So absolutely rubbish. Didn't even make it through number 1. And by all means, go to flappybird.io and play that game. Get a feeling for it. And then when we go into our own one and do the simulator, we've got the A to move up and the B to move down, and then I've crashed into a wall and died, but it is missing one fundamental element. Look, if I don't press anything, I stay going straight, and that was kind of against the Flappy Bird kind of game. If I restart it, the whole point was you had to click just one button and keep yourself airborne. There you go, managed it this time. Oh, can't even get through that one. Absolutely garbage at that game I am. So here, though, it's staying stationary. It's not moving down as I've gone. So I'm going to try and change that. So here you're just moving up and down to get through. And so it's more of a barrier game, I would say, than anything else. And you're just going through, and we could possibly speed this up and slow this down again to make it more difficult. So let's go to the edit, as we did before. And on the edit, we're going to have a little look and see if we can change both of those values. Going to hack the game a little bit to our own usage. So as I go through, I have a look here. I've got some things that I think I could change. So blink refers to the blink rate of the bird itself as it's flying. So that blink rate. So if I was to drag that to 100, or just type in 100, it's probably going to blink much faster. Let's have a look. Yep. Does blink much faster. And on button A and button B, it seems kind of counterintuitive. It seems the opposite way around to what you're thinking. But when I press A, it goes up and B goes down. So weirdly, when I press A, which is up is -1. It's because 0 starts here, and to go up, it's minus keys. So down is a plus. So that we're going to bear that in mind for the next one. So let's have a look here. We've got same difficulty, although there's actually a lot of YouTube videos that you can go through to learn how to do this. And you can go through, and there's quite a lot of complex stuff here, but find some videos. Change ticks by, pause of 600. So as it's looping round, it's doing all of these things. Then it's pausing for a little bit before it loops round and I think does the next value. So if I drag this down to 100 milliseconds, let's see if this makes the game faster or slower. Oh, wow, that's so fast, too fast potentially to play. So let's have a little another go. Refresh, no, too fast. So I could slow it right the way down to 2 seconds and refresh this game. And this game is painfully too easy now. Okay, so 600 was quite good. For the purpose of what I'm about to show you next, I'm going to just do a second for that. There we go. And we go down to do it. So I don't want to have to press down and up. The whole point of the Flappy Bird game was to press it and it keeps the bird flying up. So let's remember, up, up, up. I'm only pressing up. It automatically goes down all the time. And still can't get past that second one. Terrible. So what I'm going to say here is, it was to go down, which was the B button there, was that one there. So I'm going to duplicate that block to go down. And at the end of all of this, it's actually going to then go down. So I only have to press A now. So it goes down, I press A to go up. Oh, There we go. Now I have to judge this to go over it because it goes down when it loops round. So I'm going to have to do it just as it clicks. There. Oh, still not good enough. In fact, I'm going to just change it here to see if that makes it easier. Do it before the pause. So let's have a look. There we go. I'm able to get through now. I find that a little bit easier. And it goes down. Oh, there we go. So here, it looks like if you're at the top, you can't get down to the bottom. So you may want to change the gap between, if you can find out how to do that, or just play around with it, or you can actually drop yourself faster using the B button still, remember. So if I refresh the game and try and get by, refresh it there you go up. And if I want to go down faster, I can leave gravity do it, or I can actually press the B that's there. Oh, there we go, got it there. So I'm finding that level of difficulty again. So we were able to add to the game, change the game's difficulty with the speed, and again, press pause, play the game, see if you can get further than me, which won't be very hard, and then actually see if you can play around with some different things. Remember to change one thing at a time and bring it back again. And there are also, if you just Google Flappy Bird instructions for microbit or something similar to that, you will find a lot of video or text examples on how to do this, some better than others. So they will help you to understand what goes through this, because the whole point of this, I can show you the door of coding, but you need to be able to go off and try and do it yourself and explore. But taking somebody else's code, changing it, and seeing what happens, that's the first step, I believe, in becoming a good coder. So press pause, have a go at this, and then we'll finish off with the last game. Okay, so when we come in here now, I'm going to go to the third game, which is the classic game of Snake, the one that used to be on the very old Nokia phone many, many years ago. And it was one I remember dearly as a fantastic game. And they've been able to have a go at that with, I would say, well, not expert level. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this one now is because this one was made not using the blocks. This was made using JavaScript, which just a programming language, usually on the internet, used quite a lot. And you can basically have a little go, and I'm not going to change much on this, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of Snake before we go, so you've got a feeling about what happens here. And this is kind of the Snake idea. This is a fast version of it. And you're trying to get the food. And as you grab the food, the snake gets a little bit longer each time. So let's go to the simulator. Let's see how good this is. Now let's press B to start. And then we move along. And then B turns you anti-clockwise. Or clockwise, actually, sorry. And it moves you round. And then you have to click it. And then you have to grab the food. You grab one piece of food, and there we go around. Oh, and my game's over. So press it again. Go around, up, grab some food. Now, the first time you get it, it only makes you go to 1 because you grabbed 1. And then hopefully now when I grab the next one, my snake has grown in length to 2. You seem to have to, in this particular game, do it twice before it actually makes you go a little bit longer. I think it's because we're limited on the amount of space we have here. So it's just saying you have to have 2 each time. And there we go. And then I think it ends on this. So it's not the most fantastic representation of the game, but it just shows you what happens. But really what I wanted to do here was show you the different programming language that we might have a look at next week with JavaScript. So here, as I've said, this is the function. It's text rather than anything else. And so what we're having a look at now is, can you have a little go and a little play with that? Do play the emulator and just see what happens. Okay, so a bit of a shorter one today, but it's more about playing around with these games and seeing what it is that you can do there. So Shooter and Flappy is easier to play around with because we're in the blocks form. have a little just explore of what JavaScript looks like. And like I said, have some fun with those two games. Do have a little Google with microbit games and see if you can find any other games that you can put on the microbit just by copying and pasting the code or following the instructions to make them. So have a nice Friday, and I'll be back live on Monday next week at 1:15, and we're going to have a little bit of a look at potentially robotics or some other things that are more interesting with the microbit. So thank you very much. See you next week.